Hello everyone, I Drishti Goyal extends a very warm welcome for yet another session of SSB Josh Talks. As there is a very great saying that failure is not opposite of success, but it is the part of success. And to prove these lines absolutely right, we are going to invite our today's guest who have not got merit out only once, twice, but thrice. But then also she didn't let her failures demotivate her, believe that it is the part of the success and only best of the best deserves to be in, kept on improving herself with her every upcoming attempt, gave her 100% and finally got merit in with All India Rank 2 in her very fifth attempt for JAG 29 entry and is going to join Officers Training Academy Chennai very soon. So let us welcome AIR-2 for JAG 29th entry, Ms. Chahat Jindal, to share her experiences and the journey of recommendations and very insightful tips and tricks which have worked out for her and might be very much helpful for all those who are going to appear for their upcoming SSB attempts. So let's welcome her and listen to her story. Okay. Hi Chahat, how are you?
Hi Drishti, I'm good. How are you?
I'm also very good and many congratulations for you scoring AIR-2 in JAG entry. How are you feeling right now?
Thank you so much. Ninth cloud would be an understatement. I don't know which cloud I'm on, but yes, I'm very happy.
Okay, so after getting so many recommendations, merit out, and even you got conferenced out once. So how was your journey of these SSBs and how you were finally able to get into the merit?
The journey has been great. It's been nothing short of great. It took me about 2 years. That's from my first SSB to my fifth. And it's very exciting. I made so many friends. I learned so many things about myself. And, I'm happy making it when I felt that, yes, I was ready. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, but I have seen people, right, always thinking that they are not getting recommended. It's very difficult to get recommended. But how much of difficulty is it to take it as a merit out candidate? Like not only once, but thrice. How did you cope up with that? That, okay, might be I won't be able to make it, but then also I'm going again for the recommendation. So how was it?
I think from a different perspective, now that I was get to the merit or I was getting recommended, I knew that I had it in me. I was fit for the army. But there was obviously something short that I was not doing as well as the other candidates that I didn't end up on the merit. So I feel, what kept me motivated was my aim, was my goal, and my passion to be in the army. And my friends and my parents have been the biggest support. So them and the fact that I wanted to improve, I wanted to be better, and I wanted to be the best when I do make it to the merit. So that kept motivating me.
Okay. So one very important question, as you know that many candidates are not even aware about JAG entry. So can you tell me the basic procedure, how you applied and how it goes like, and where you will be going for the training and everything? Like for a basic understanding of a candidate who is not at all aware about JAG entry.
So recently there has been a change. Before, I'll just tell you before and the after change. Before, to qualify for the JAG SSB, you had to get a minimum of 55% in your law degree, BLLB, BBLLB, or whichever LLB that you're doing from, either a 3-year course or the 5-year course. You had to get a 55%. Now there has been a change from the JAG 30 notification. You have to get the score of CLAT PG. Now, CLAT PG is your postgraduate law exam. So the scores are not mandatory as of now, but giving the exam is an eligibility. So only and only after you have a 55% or above, and you have given your CLAT exam, CLAT PG exam, is when you will be eligible for giving the JAG entry. What else do you want to know?
So they have increased the difficulty for even applying for JAG, right?
Yes.
Right.
See, it's at the end, and there are so many people. People are slowly getting aware of the JAG entry, right? and we have so many eligible lawyers applying for
Yeah.
it. So I think this is mostly like a screening process. JAG doesn't have an exam of its own, like the other entry of CDS or AFCAT, all of these entries do. So just I think it's beneficial to give a PG exam also, because if one is thinking of a master's, they anyways have to give that exam.
Right. So it
So
will be
it's
like an added advantage for them as well. Even if they are not able to make it here, they can go ahead for PG as well.
it should be. I think one should always have more plans.
Ah, right,
Right.
definitely. So I was asking about the training part. So where you will be going for the training, how long will the training, and after getting your commissioning, what will be the basic roles and responsibilities you will be taking care of?
So I'm not yet in the army, but I will try to answer the questions that you have.
Yeah.
So we're going to the OTA Chennai. It will be an 11 months training, like the rest of the entries. It's the same for everybody now. And after commissioning, our role is to basically advise the Indian Army on the legal aspects. Like we have law outside in the civil courts. Similarly, we have our own tribunals in the army, and advising on the court martials and the basic behavioral and disciplinary issues within the organization are to be addressed by the JAG officers.
Okay, great. So you will be having a very, very important role in the army.
Yes, I hope
Right.
so.
Okay, so what kept you motivated? Like this long journey of 2 years, you have already been working. You are a very successful lawyer already. So why? What kept you motivated for the JAG entry and going into the army?
So since I was a child, I wanted to be in the army, and I completed my 12th. I went into law school, and right after law school, I started giving my SSBs. I mean, yes, I wanted to work. I didn't want to, sit and prepare. I don't blame all of that as well, because it's how it's how a person can cope up with things. And I wanted to work, but what kept me motivated was that I always wanted to be in it, and never for I think a second I thought that maybe I wanted to do something else. I believed that I was meant for it. I worked for it, and I think even while I was working, even though I had my focus on those things as well, I somehow took time to read the news or to read what was going, and that's how I made sure that I'm abreast with all of these current affairs and whatever the notifications are coming. So I've always wanted to be in the army. I think there was no other option for me.
Okay, so it was always at the back of your mind that you are for it and you want to go for it, right? Okay, so you have been till 5 attempts, I guess. So can you tell me all the boards you have been to and which board you like the most and why?
So I've been to all of them. I started with 20 SSB, which is in Bhopal. Then I went to Bangalore. Bangalore is, I think I went to 17 SSB. And then Allahabad, which was 11 SSB. Then I went to 20 SSB again in Bhopal for my 4th attempt. And then finally the 19 SSB for Allahabad. So I think all the centers have their own charm. But Allahabad is my favorite, since I'm getting merited from Allahabad. And secondly, I feel that, the accommodation in Allahabad is such that everybody is staying together. So I made so many friends, and we could have so much fun together in our free time. And there was a lot more interaction than, there is in closed spaces. So I think I loved the center. It has great hospitality. They've taken care of us very, very well. And, they kept motivating us also that don't lose heart, you can do this. And they were at it. I think they wanted all of us to get recommended.
Okay,
So,
but you know that many of the candidates are already afraid of Allahabad board. They think that it is a rejection center and they like, we don't want to go to Allahabad. What is your say over that? Say over that.
contrary, I really don't. So because I was also told this is a general conception. I feel that, Allahabad is a rejection center.
All right.
But it's not. It's really not. And, obviously any center or any entry, they're going to take us only and only if we are capable and only if we are fit for the army. I can prove this statement wrong just by giving one example, that in our board this time, out of 36 candidates, 36 lady candidates who were screened in, 16 got recommended. Can you believe?
Great.
Allahabad
And that is actually a huge number for an entry like JAG with these limited seats, right?
I have never seen it. So the girls are very competitive. The entry is very competitive and it's a very good entry. And I don't feel any center is a rejection center. I think it's on the capability of ourselves that, you know, if we are fit in the army or if we are fit for the army.
Right. Okay. After getting recommended one after the other continuously for 3 times, you got suddenly confidence out. So how was it and how did you take it and like work for it?
Initially I was disheartened. I was shocked as well. For a very brief period, you know, I didn't know what I did wrong because I was getting. But then, you know, there are good days and then there are bad days, right? Probably I didn't perform very well in my interview. I couldn't answer a few questions as far as I can remember, some general knowledge questions or legal questions. And well, at that time I was working in Delhi. So I didn't get very much, you know, a lot of time for my physical, this thing, to keep up my physical strength. So I feel those might be the places that I lacked a little bit. But yes, I was disheartened, as I said. But I think it never stopped me. It never demotivated me. I think I took it more as a challenge because failures, I feel, are very, very important for victory. And that taught me that, you know, nothing is very easy. Everything is tough and everything has to be taken as a challenge to do well. So I worked on myself and I made sure that, you know, I put it my 100% this time, more than 100%.
Right. And actually it showed the result. Right. Okay. Actually, it is a lesson for even all the recommended candidates as well, right? So people think that once they have got recommended, it would be a cakewalk for them to get recommended again, right? But anything and everything can happen in SSBs. So we should not be like overconfident at any point of time. Okay. So
I feel that, you know, it gets more tough for recommended candidates to clear it again because you've already set a standard and you're going to be judged on that standard and you have to maintain it, better it. So I don't think anybody should take it, you know, like it's going to be a cakewalk because it's not.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. So as you were working from last 2 years, right, along with your preparation for SSB, so how was you able to manage your time to give it to your job and simultaneously for your SSB preparation? And how did you prepare so well in that busy schedule?
See, I feel you don't need much to prepare for your SSB. You need like loads and loads of confidence. You need great social skills. Of course, interacting with a lot of people. I made it a point that even if I was working, even if I was in my office, I made sure that I interacted with people every day. I interacted with them on whatever was going on in the world, whatever is going on in the legal field and in India. So that made me abreast not with just the general knowledge factor, but also my social skills. Right. And yes, it is a little difficult to juggle between work and SSB preparation. But I feel, you know, you need to just have that in your head that I want to do it. And you will. After work, I used to go for a run every day. You know, even if I was tired, I used to tell myself, Chahat, if you want to be in the army, you've got to run. You better run. And that way, I read up a lot. I read up all these articles by SSBCrack that they keep posting, and thank you so much for that. And
it means a lot.
No, it's true. Your courses are very good. The news that you put up is very good, and the fact that, you know, you're always not missing any time in posting notifications that they are out or the eligibility criteria, making videos on all of these cases, because it's very important. I mean, we do know about the entries, but there are intricacies that we don't know. So I
Yeah.
think you convey all of that to the candidates, and it's a big help. So that's how I prepared. And see the intelligence tests. Tried to solve some of them, if not, if not all every day, or if not every day, I tried to solve them. I tried to keep my physicals up. And interview is, introspection is very, very important. So it's not something that, you cannot do even if you're tired. You need to sit, you need to think about yourself, you need to gather all your thoughts and know what you want or why you want. Or maybe if you're a repeater, then why did you get recommended previously? Work on all of those things.
Okay, very nice. But many candidates, what they do is they take a drop year just to prepare for SSBs. So what is your say over that? Like,
See,
is it good? Is it good to take an off year and like only prepare?
It's absolutely not wrong. I mean, if somebody wants to focus all their energy into SSBs or preparing for them, then it's absolutely not wrong. Yes, I do feel one should have a plan B. And if let's say if one person has decided that, okay, I'm going to take 1 year and I'm going to prepare very hard. But after that 1 year, what? That is when I feel you need to plan. That,
Definitely.
a drop year is absolutely okay. If it helps you focus more, if it helps you concentrate, and if it helps you improve yourself, because during this preparation you really realize a lot of things about yourself.
Yeah,
And
right.
you improve them. So I am all in favor of a drop year. Or if somebody is working, yes, it gets a little tough for the person who's working also, but it's absolutely okay. However, after 1 year, I feel that one should, like after 1 or 2 years, or how much ever time you've given to yourself, you need to have a plan. That, okay, if this is not going to work, then what am I going to do? And you should work towards that plan as well.
Right. So have you ever thought of leaving your job, like to give your 100% to the preparation? Ever?
Uh, no, I mean, so I was a COVID batch when I graduated in August 2020, and I was working from home since then. So I got time to myself, to prepare before my first SSB or SSB. Then it got physical. Yes, it took me some time to juggle, but I didn't think that it was anything that I couldn't manage. So I didn't want to leave work. I was learning a lot about work there as well, and it's also very productive. I felt it was very productive for me. So I never had the thought of leaving work and just prepare for myself.
Okay. Right. So now if I talk about SSB, you know that screening is the most skeptical part. People after even getting recommended are getting screened out and they even don't know what the reason is. Sometimes they think that they have done the best and they got out, and when they are very casual, go just like that and they got in. So what is like your point over this screening part, that what should be the strategy, or which strategy did you follow which worked best for you?
See, I feel screening is a bit of both. It's luck and your hard work as well.
Right.
There is no straightforward formula of how you've got to prepare it, but it consists of intelligence tests, and your discussion mostly. Right. So I feel one should always practice a few intelligence questions, because then our flow or our brain starts thinking on that way. And it's not anything difficult. It's just how your brain reacts to certain situations, and that is what they're checking. When it comes to PPDT, it's a picture. I mean, it's a really blurred picture, and how each of us, and I'm sure, Drishti, if there is one picture, you and I will think completely different from each other of how that picture is or what that picture is. So I feel that, practicing it and practicing it is not very much helpful as actually thinking is. Any picture, you do so many things in a day. Right now you're talking to me, right? So anybody, if this is a picture, then somebody will make a story on it. So I feel stories, there are so many situations in our entire day, and we can make so many situations out of it. We just need to keep our brain thinking. And secondly, when it comes to narration and discussion, yes, having a good command over language is very, very helpful. It is a very big advantage. And clarity of thought. If you think clearly, if you've written your story with a clear head and you remember the story, then you will not have any problem in the narration. I mean, one need not be nervous about it. You just need to speak your mind, your thought, and nobody other than you knows that better, right? And when it comes to discussion, I think here is where the social factor is very important. You need to, I don't feel people who yell a lot or who are always trying to talk more. I mean, I don't know, I'm not a judge, I've always been on the other side. But I don't feel that's how it's supposed to be done. I feel there needs to be a discussion. A healthy discussion is when, everybody is able to put their points, and one will be able to put his or her point if they are able to continue with the story. I feel that there needs to be discussion on the more important part of what exactly is going in the scenery, and if one has a rational solution to it, if one has a solution very close to the reality or reality itself, then yes, people will listen, and people will agree with you. I mean, this has happened with all of us, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Also, there is something like people thinks that they need to insert a certain number of times in the GD to get recommended. Do you think it is like actually truthful?
I'm sorry, a certain number of what?
Certain number of insertions they need to make in a GD. Like they need to speak up certain number of times to get recommended.
No, absolutely not. This is very, very untrue. GD, a group discussion is not a competition. It is like, all of us sitting casually and discussing something that is important, right? And I feel each and every bit of information is important. It's just you need to be crisp about it, and it doesn't matter how many times you speak, but I feel whenever you speak, the quality of what you speak matters much more than the quantity of what you speak.
Exactly. Right. Okay. So you have ever faced that fish market like situation? And if yes, then how did you tackle it? Like this very common vocabulary term is here, this fish market, right? So how did you tackle it?
Yes, fish market happens, and it has happened with me. But that is when our instructors or the assessors had intervened, and then they said that, what is this? This is not a discussion. And it's a fish market is something that you cannot tackle. I mean, that's how it should never be like that. Don't ever go with that mindset that everybody has to speak. So first of all, if that something like that happens, then they intervene. And yes, you yourself should, whenever you get the chance to speak, let the other person finish. That person will finish with their thought. At least like sometime they will. It's a 20-minute discussion. It's a lot of time for you to discuss anything. And then when you get your chance, speak, and make it a short and good point, and give the chance to somebody else to speak. So I feel making a fish market or not is mostly based on you. And if you can change it, I feel the other women, I mean, the last batch that I got recommended in, we didn't have a fish market. And in fact, yeah, I mean, I was very fortunately or unfortunately, I had repeaters, and I think everybody got to speak their point. Disagreements were there, agreements were there, additions were there, and there was change of perception. Or you can only hear if you're willing to hear. So I feel hearing is also very, very important.
And I think this should. Yeah, when we listen to people, people tend to listen to us as well at a certain moment of time. Right. Yeah. Okay. So if I talk about your recent SSB interview, which picture was shown to you, and how did you tackle or make the story out of it? Like there are 4 minutes for writing the story, but some people like went blank even after seeing the picture, right? They don't get anything to write over there. So what is your suggestion for that, or what type of format did you use to follow while writing the story? Like, if you want to tell us.
There is no hard and fast format. I mean, it is a test of your perception, and you cannot restrict your brain to rules and regulations or formats. Right. I'll tell you what my picture. My picture for the PPDT was a boy casually strolling in a field, or it was a garden where there were bushes. So yes, it was a blurry picture. There was not much in that picture. At least you know what your eye could look at. There was nothing much. Again, there is no perfect story. I don't know if my story was very good or not good, and I'm pretty sure there would be people who wrote better stories, or who didn't write very good stories. But so my story was based on this boy who um, who was an architect who belonged to a village, because it was a very village setting scene. So I thought, let me connect it to the nature. So he belonged to this village, and then he had gone out to study architecture. After he was done with his studies, he came back, and he used to love strolling in his village, in the green pastures, in his thoughts. And one day, while he was just walking by, he thought, he's looking at the development that is happening in the cities, and it's obviously bound to develop. So he thought, why not make environment friendly buildings or colonies where people are given a part of land to cultivate, also small land, so where you can always plant trees, and where the material that is procured for construction is more natural than these man-made. I mean, of course, they have to be man-made stuff as well. He tried to include that's what his thought was, that and he presented such a plan to the panchayat, which was then approved and taken to the authorities. So he took help of the villagers to raise up this colony. So his efforts were very well appreciated, because it was close to his family, close to his village, and he in sync with the environment. So that was my story. But again, I say that there is no perfect story. So many of my friends made stories of hiking, of marathons, of trips. So I think those stories were also very, very good.
But actually, you try to target the right problem, which we all are going to face in very near future if we want to work on this idea, right? So actually, like, this is how the story writing part came into picture. No, when we are having a very good story, which we are confident about, it ultimately boosts our confidence for the narration and that too for the GD.
That's very true. So about when you said that people go blank, I don't feel that anybody can go blank. I mean, I see and I think something. I see anything, I think something. So it's just that I think people have the thought in their head that maybe the story is not good enough, or maybe this is not something they like. No, I don't think we should ever follow that. We should always write our first thought and explain it better. Our thoughts are, there's no right and wrong answer to this. Only if we can explain it better, if we can do a step-by-step explanation of what is happening, what would have happened, and what's going to happen, nothing is wrong or right. So yeah, nobody can go blank. Just think of just think of the picture. Whatever you think first, write it down.
Actually, you have covered the screening part really very beautifully. It is going to give a very good insight to those who are going to be appearing for the very first time. Right. Yeah. So now we'll talk about stage 2, which consists of your psych test, your interview, and your GTU, right? So which is your favorite, first of all, right? And which went really well for you out of all these 3?
My favorite is the one that I could never complete. So this was SRT. I really like being put into situations, and then how would I think about it, or what would others think about it. In fact, we talk about it a lot in during our free time, that if this happens, what would you write, or or what would you think? So again, there is no right or wrong answer to this. And situation reaction is, your psychology tests are the tests against time. So
Right.
one has to finish them, right? And again, it's not something that, only those people who get selected who have finished all these tests. That's not true, because I'm an example of somebody who never finished her SRT, or in fact, initial times I even couldn't finish my WATs.
Okay.
But yeah, and I still got recommended. So again, whenever I say anything about writing, I will always repeat, more than quantity, it's the quality of what you've written matters. And yes, you should always aim for completing all of these tests, because they have more matter to judge you on them. If you write less, the judgment will only be made from those few sentences that you've written. But if you write everything, then it can be a more sound judgment, right? And SRTs are my favorite. And this was the first time, in fact, that I could complete all my 60 SRTs.
You completed all of them, finally.
For the first, yes, in 5 times, finally I could.
So that is showing the result. No, actually, we think that it doesn't matter, right? But quality with quantity matters, I guess.
Yes,
Right.
I mean,
Because Mhm.
you should always aim to complete all of these tests, because they're all scientific tests, and they have been given a time limit because it's possible, and so many people actually complete it. So we should
Right.
all, and it's not that, I used to say that I write slow, but I don't think that's what helps you complete or not complete. It's your thought. If you write the first thing that comes in your head, I am so sure everybody will be able to complete all the VATs and the SRTs and the TATs as well. And then there's STT. If you have it clear in your head, if you write your first thought, anybody can finish it.
Right. So how did you practice for psych test?
See, STT is something that I'll start from the backwards.
Yeah.
When I initially had to write something on my SDT, I asked my parents and my friends, and in fact, I contacted my professors and asked them that, what do they think about me? What have I done? And how was my performance in their classes or in college? So they wrote me an email telling me what it was and what my parents thought of me. I handed them slips that, without being biased, just tell me what do you think are my strengths? Where do you think I should work on? What are you proud of? And, all of these things that they wrote, my friends also did the same. So I got a better perspective of what they think about me. And, your friends and your family are the ones who know you most, professors as well. So if you think that, you don't know where you're lacking, you should always talk to them, because they'll be able to help you as to what are the factors that you could work on, right? And I think that's what I did. That's what my SDT was all about. Situation reaction is, again, no right or wrong answer. It's how you would react to a situation, and not how your friend or your parents or your friend or of anybody else would. We're all human beings. We react in certain ways in all situations, and that is what the test wants to know. It's not a test, it's just a questionnaire that we have to fill at the end of the day, and it's on our personality. So again, not a right or a wrong answer. Of course, we all need to think that, okay, if that happens tomorrow, or if I don't make it tomorrow, what am I going to do? This is also a situation reaction.
Right, definitely.
I'm going to plan my future. I'm going to start working, or I'm going to start preparing for other things. So this is, again, all in your daily routine of life and how you deal with all of those things. Similarly, words. Again, I think that words are one of the most simplest things, because these words are not complicated at all. They are words that are used very generally, and there are so many videos on YouTube, or there is so much matter on what kind of words are asked. Again, please don't go through any guideline of how your sentences should be.
Right.
They should be how you think or what you think of them. There is no hard and fast rule. They can be anything. You just have to put down whatever you think. If I say a flower, what do you think first when it comes to your head? I see gardens and bees and fragrance, and that's what I'm going to write. So if somebody sees flowers, they also think of petal showers, and it could be a marigold flower, it could be rose, it could be anything. So
Yeah.
I feel to write their thoughts, and it won't be difficult. Trust me, if somebody is gone there to have fun, they should have fun. Yes, it should be a limited fun. But don't be nervous at all. Don't be scared of how you're going to perform, because that's not on us. If we're going to get scared and perform, it's going to reflect. But if we've gone there with confidence and not scared of what the result is going to be, but just giving our best, I feel one can perform much better in that situation.
Definitely. And actually, SGT is the only task which we know beforehand that this is the exact set of questions which are going to be coming.
Exactly, and one can prepare on that. One can get a perception from their parents and friends and professors or colleagues for that matter. And one obviously knows themselves what they can work on. This is something that you can prepare and go. And this is something that will always help you in life, not just for SSB, but for the future as well.
Definitely. So now we'll talk about interview, right? As you know that many aspiring lawyers are preparing for the JAG entry, and the least available content is related to JAG interview because nobody is knowing what they need to prepare, and if they're going to prepare about law, and it is limitless, right? So what do you think for the interview per se? What should be the targeted preparation for a candidate who is going for the JAG entry?
See, the interviews are also it's nothing different. Where it's almost the same. It's questions from it, that is your CIQ asked, and it is knowledge based on your expertise. So if we've done law, there will be questions related to the legal profession. If you've done engineering, then it will be tech related questions. CDS is more general knowledge and current affairs related questions, which are actually common in all. So there is no this this thing that okay, these type of questions are asked. It's how you take your interview forward. Yes, nobody knows your personal information better than yourself. So I think you should always be able to answer those. And when it comes to the legal questions, for my entry, see, legal is something that whatever they ask you questions on whatever is happening on the legal front. For example, what questions I was asked in this particular interview was about the new Chief Justice of India, and his name was announced while we were in the SSB. So I actually wasn't aware that Justice UU Lalit will become the next Chief Justice. And the assessor had informed me, and he asked me questions that he's only going to be there in the Chief Justice for 74 days. So what do you feel about it? It was a very opinionated question answer interview. Very opinionated interview, and I could speak whatever I felt or I believed in. The next thing, he also asked me about how I would contribute to the army as a lawyer. And he asked me certain things about what is AFT, the Armed Forces Tribunal. So I feel whichever entry that you come from, you need to know the basics of what is expected out of you as a lawyer or as a techie, as a person who's going through the CDS or the NCC. They need to know their background well. And there could be specific questions, very, very basic questions. They don't ask you very technical questions. They ask you things like some sections that are discussed. They'll ask you about Jammu and Kashmir, whatever is going on right now, the 370 article, and anything that is in news. For example, there have been certain amendments after the parliamentary sessions. So they're going to ask you what amendments or which all fields had, which all acts had amendments, and what were these. So I think one needs to just be abreast with the news, and then they can easily answer all of these questions.
Basically, anything which is related to legal background in the current news is very much of importance, right?
Very important. One should always go through, and all of these appointments, any of the books that were released, any changes that were made in the present law, any guidelines that were issued, any if we are merging up, or if we are if two countries are coming together for a certain cause, then we absolutely need to know all of that, and the legal aspects behind it, the legal reasoning. So this is what can help you perform much better in the interview.
Okay. Yeah. Any set of questions which you find it difficult in your interview to tackle, and if yes, then how do you tackle it?
Yes, I mean there were not in this interview per se, but sometimes legal magazines. I mean, all the lawyers would know what legal magazines are. They are asked, and these are French, or I don't even know Latin. What languages are these? But they'll ask you the meaning of them in English. So again, when we prepare for CLAT, or when we prepare for any competitive exam, these are questions that are asked everywhere. So they're not specific to the SSB, but any questions that you prepare for your higher studies exams or for judiciary, these are the questions that one needs to prepare. All the basic laws coming from criminal to civil, property, family, the constitution should be by heart. These books, which are anyways expected of you, that you should be abreast with them. You should always know what's in it. These are the subjects that you need to focus on. And yes, legal magazines is one. Then what else? And they can ask you questions as to what do you feel about the situation, or if there is, for example, if there was a decision regarding the Ram Mandir, and it was a decision that had taken after so many years, and it had a lot of legal implications. So we're asked, obviously we need to know about it. We need to know what the farmers' bill said, and why was it pulled out, or why was it even started in the first place. So we need to know the legal implications behind it, and not just what it is. So one needs to.
Yeah, and basically not even knowing is enough. I guess you need to have an opinion, a side also, right? You cannot be biased, or you cannot be like, okay, anything and everything, and go ahead. Like, being a lawyer, you should have a stance.
I think anybody and everybody, some people need to have an opinion of their own on it, and not just blindly follow what somebody has said. Yes, be open to criticism and be open to other ideas, and listening others on what they feel. But one should always form an opinion of what they feel about the situation.
Okay, I'm also curious about the fact, is there somebody from the legal background is sitting there to take your interview, or is there that anybody like the normal assessors are there?
See, sometimes there's mostly one interviewer. Sometimes there are two. So now we don't really know if they come from a legal background or not. But yes, they ask us legal questions, and it's the both of them that they take our interview. So yes, it could be possible that they come from a legal background, or maybe not. So nobody really knows that, and but I think we should be prepared. We should always be prepared that we'll be thrown with legal questions.
Right. Okay. So if I talk about CIQs, like comprehensive information questionnaires, like a set of questions are there, and many candidates, I'll tell you, are very like facing difficulty in remembering the sequence and the number of questions asked. So how did you cope up with that?
See, the questions that are asked when it's called a rapid fire, right? So many questions are asked. It's not about remembering. I feel it's more about connecting, because these questions are very well connected to each other. What were your subjects in 10th, or how much did you score in 10th? So I think we need to explain all of our I had a formula of remembering the first and the last question very well, and in between I would go here and there.
Right.
Like perfect memories, and I applaud the ones who do. But see, these are very related questions. So we need to use mind mapping, I feel. I mean, that helped me. That these questions are asked from a particular time in my
Area.
life, when I
Right.
was or when I was in 11th, or when I was in 12th, or what I did in my college, or the co-curricular activities, or my scores, my favorite teachers, or my favorite subject. These are all related to one aspect. So I feel you should know all of these things, because again, it's your life, right? It'll be better. You will be better connected if you listen carefully. And I feel that we always start thinking of the answers as soon as the question is asked, because we don't want to sound like, or we don't want to look like we don't know the answers. No, I feel when he or she, the interviewer, is asking you questions, you need to very, very carefully listen to what the questions are. And once you know, and once you've opened your brain to it, your brain will recollect those questions no matter what. You may think that you have forgotten, but once you start speaking, it automatically comes to you. So instead of thinking the answers, listen to all the questions, take a pause, recollect all your thoughts, and then speak.
That was a very good suggestion, actually, because we just rushed up with the starting set of questions and we don't even listen to the rest of the part.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So now I'll move on to the GTO part. Okay. So that's your group testing task, whatever it is. So there is a set of 9 tasks actually. No? So which task
Yeah.
you went well for you, and you liked the most, enjoyed the most in that task, and which task you like struggled to complete?
I think my best, like my favorite is the snake race, because there is a competition there, and your team works for each other. I mean, that is a time when somebody is keeping her foot on your face, on your shoulders, and you don't mind. You just want to help the others as much as you can, and to cross over. That is the time when if somebody like somebody is facing some fear of heights, or they can't cross. All of these women are motivating each other, and they are helping each other cross through obstacles. This is the perfect group task, I feel, that they have, and I love it.
Right. And also, I know that there is a war cry related thing there in snake race,
Yes.
right? So, how did you choose that war cry, and what was the war cry for your recent SSB?
So our war cry was Bajrang Bali ki jai. And this is it can be anything that gives you power or that gives you motivation. Just saying it. I mean, people had Jai Hind, people had Jai Mahakali, and anything. And it could just house the Josh. Was also one of the ones that I had encountered before. And it's anything that gives you strength, that gives your that team the encouragement. So again, nothing. It's a trend. It's not a trend. I mean, it's a practice in the army that what, as officers, these are the war cries is something that unites the entire regiments, or the officers and the non-commissioned officers and everybody. So this is just the practice, and I feel it's a very good practice, is because when anybody is tired and we just shout out our war cry, you will see somebody from the back or the front starts shouting it as well. I think that gives you a lot of encouragement.
Right, definitely. Okay, if I talk about individual obstacles, right? So, like it gets difficult at times because people do try to go for the physical runs and everything, but it needs you to have some strength, right? So, how did you cope for that, and how many number of obstacles you were able to cross in just 3 minutes?
So I tried to do all 10, and
Mhm.
again, not difficult to do them. I was not able to do, I think, one or two properly because I fell. Again, yes, some amount of strength is definitely required for all of these. Not all, but yeah, most of them. And that's when I say, you need to keep your physicals up. You need to run because we're racing against time. and you just have, I think, 3 minutes or 2 minutes to complete all of these tasks, which is possible. Some people and some girls, for that matter, go for the other round after completing their obstacles. In GTO, you have 8 girls have 8 mandatory and 2 optional. So I don't feel that you should just to prove it to anybody, one should take the optional ones. I think one should always complete the mandatory ones first, because it's not that they're easy, they're difficult, they test you. It's all a test of balance and strength. And one should, well, I feel that, when people go there, they get confused that which to attempt or which not to attempt, or which
Definitely.
first. But that if we listen to the instructions given by the assessors, it really helps a lot, because they give us 30 seconds to manage our thoughts of what we're going to do. And I feel once we start, we should not confuse ourselves. We should do as many as we can, and we should just go to the next one if we're not able to do it, because wasting time on one obstacle that we're not able to do is not never going to help us, right? So
Definitely.
yes, preparation for it is only and only that practice jumping a lot and practice running a lot and keep yourself physically fit. That will be an added advantage. Also, individual obstacles are just a part of the GTO. So yes, they do have certain number of marks, but the other things as well. So not just to focus on one task, but in all should be our aim. And if we're not able to do, or if somebody is able to do more or less, that doesn't mean that they would have performed well in everything. So keep your confidence up and perform as many as you can. Try not to get hurt, because if you get hurt, then it will be difficult for you to perform the other tasks as well. So that is
Definitely.
my advice.
All right. So if I talk about ground tasks like the PGT, HGT, FGT, command tasks, right? People think that without getting guidance before going to the SSB, it is going to be very difficult to sustain over that ground, particularly or complete that task. But I personally think that it is just your mind game. If you are able to make the connection, you are able to go through. What is your say over that?
I agree with you, Drishti. So coaching cannot tell you, which fatta to put on which obstacle, because nobody
Exactly.
obstacles are. You can be introduced to anything, and but the basic thing, if there are two, if there are if let's say there are two pillars, you have to connect them. That is the entire task, right? And you'll have a rope, you'll have your fatta, you'll have your bali, and this is when the effective intelligence is tested, that it is so simple as connecting two things, and
Exactly.
keep connecting and we cross over. Yes, initially, when people use the words lever or counter lever, fulcrum, all of that can get you a little nervous. But at the end of the day, it helps you. Yes, you should have the knowledge of what is a lever, and what is counterweight and where do you need to go. The weight should be in which direction. It's all common sense.
All
I mean,
right.
we all know that if we have to go forward, then there has to be some weight on the back, right? For it to handle our weight when we go forward. Again, I don't think one needs proper coaching or a guideline as to how it is to be done. Everyone just needs to think, take some time to think, how can I connect the two things? And one can easily cross over and help others cross over as well.
Actually, I believe in easier language. It is just a jugaad, right? Which we Indians are very good in doing it, that, right?
I
So,
think
yeah,
people know how to tie ropes well and in a short time. So that is when the team effort actually helps. Somebody
right.
knows, somebody can hold more weight, somebody can tie better, somebody can, somebody is light so they can easily cross over faster. So again, if you work in the team, it can be done. I mean, we completed all our 4 individual tasks in PGT, our team. So I mean, I was very proud of them.
Yeah,
They were very, very good and very, very cooperative for that matter.
exactly. Okay. So, if I talk about your command task, right? So, sometimes, like it is there that they try to put on stress. especially in the case of repeaters, and you were the recommended repeater. Okay, so how was it for you, the command task, and how on what basis you chose your subordinates there?
So I didn't think much while choosing my subordinates. I mean, my bedmates were my subordinates.
Okay.
I had spoken to them the most. I felt that they were competitive and they could have helped me. I mean, my GTO sir also asked me why I'm choosing them, and that was the answer. I mean, they were the roll numbers right in front of me, and we were sharing our bed. The 5 days I interacted with them the most, and I felt that they had very good ideas when PGT. We had done the PGT, so that's how I chose mine. As far as the task is concerned, yes, it was competitive, and my task had all the moving ones. The objects you can be shifted from here and there, they can move the whole round. So again, it was difficult, I would say, but my strategy to go for it was trial and error. So any thought, it may be wrong, it may, we may think that this is not going to be right, how would it look in front of the assessor, but no, I will you should try everything. If that thought has come to your head, it's your task. You have your friends doing it with you, and you should always try to fit it somewhere. And I'm telling you, Drishti, this has happened to me, that just by trying, I could fix the fatta somewhere, and then I knew the bali is going to come there to support it. Right, so one should always try whatever thoughts that they get in their head.
Yeah, instead of standing and only thinking, like trying and getting wrong and then getting right is the best part, I guess.
Exactly. Getting wrong is very, very important.
Right. Okay. Okay. How did you handle or talk with your subordinates? Like there are myths, like you need to take the help of only the subordinates, or you should not take the help from them. So, what is your say on it?
No, I feel your subordinates are there so that they can help you. Of course, when it's your task, I feel that you should be the one doing thinking. I mean, you are the commander. The basic aim of this task is, when you are put in the army as a leader, and when you have these men or these women working with you, how are you going to command them, or how are you going to make them work? So I feel at that time, you're the brains and those are the hands, right? So you should always take their help. You can you should ask them, you should tell them where to put the fattas and the ballis, but the thought should come from your head. And if at all you're not able to think, then I feel it's okay to ask them, unless and until the assessor has asked you specifically not to. I mean, they always say that you can take help of your subordinates. So I think you should think first, and if at all you're not getting any idea, then you should do the trial and error method, where you can place it. You can take their help to place the helping material and go forward. And if not at all, then yeah, you can ask your subordinate, if they have any ideas on it.
Definitely. Like it is also kind of a team bonding and teamwork at the end, right? Okay. So if I talk about indoor tasks now, see, GP is the most skeptical when I say, see, I have interacted with many freshers, and they don't even know about GP, that what is it and how we are going to tackle it. They are not knowing it beforehand. So how, like in your first attempt until this attempt, how you improved in your GP?
So again, I initially, when I did my GPs, I could never complete the write-up. I'm that maybe why, because we're thrown with a situation and a problem, and then there are a set of 4 problems where we give priority to some, and we start taking out solutions. But what I feel, the easiest way to solve a GPE is, these problems are again very interconnected. So instead of solving them separately, we should always think of solving them simultaneously.
Right.
If we are already going towards one place and we're trying to solve that particular problem, then we need to see from the way, or from that place where we can, go and try and solve the other one, instead of going back and then going forward. So I mean, whenever we're faced with a situation, we always, our head always makes a plan. अच्छा पहले ये, पहले वो, पहले ये, and
Mm-hmm.
करेंगे, ऐसे करेंगे, ऐसे कर लेंगे, तो ये फिर ऐसे हो जाएगा. So it's not, the problem is not with your planning. Planning
Right.
happens. The only problem is when you think that, okay, is it possible? Is it possible to do this? And that is when we miss out on the writing part. And then we're like,
Actually.
ये नहीं हो सकता है, ये भी तो हो सकता है, ये भी तो हो सकता है. We just need to write one solution. There can be so many solutions to that, to that particular problem. And we just need to write one. So we need to focus on what all the resources that we have, what all the additional resources we can have, and prioritize our problems in a certain way that, when somebody is hurt and very severely hurt, we should always keep that person, treat that person first. Or when there is a mass population getting affected, so many people are getting affected by certain something, then that should be kept the next priority. Something that is being stolen, or somebody going to be kidnapped, or some miscreants are going to steal something. So that can be kept next. And the fourth is generally a very normal problem that can be dealt with
Right.
anytime. That's what I've seen. So we need to keep in mind what our aim is, where do we have to reach, and by what time do we have to reach. Then we need to keep a check on all our resources that we have, and then a very sound and a short plan of what we're going to do, how we're going to do, how many people are going to do it. From there, where will we go? And this can be how much time? I think you're given 15 minutes to write a solution, and
No, 10 minutes exactly.
okay, 10 to 15 minutes, I feel.
Right.
One can easily write a situation. We don't have to write essays on it. We have to,
Definitely.
we can write a short one and a crisp one. And I think I write a very, very short solution in my GPs every time. So, I mean, it has worked for me. And when it comes to discussion, it's again like GD. People will have so many solutions, and I feel one can also listen to them, because priorities are generally the same for everybody, and just how you approach that will be different. So yes, one should give their points. If people agree, then that is great, and if people do not agree, then we should take other people's view as well, and then we can make more on it, that okay, yeah, this idea is possible, and from here we can do this as well. So I think it's always better to build on it rather than to criticize somebody.
Definitely. Right. Also, forgetting time and distance, this management, I guess, is the biggest mistake which people generally do in GP. Right. So,
I think it's easy. We all either ride cycles, or ride bikes or cars, and we know a basic speed, right? We're not talking about too much speed. I think we're talking about how one can run a kilometer in, let's say, a minute or 1.5 minutes, and I think that's the speed that we should take. Whatever we can run, the cycle can be double the speed, and a motorcycle can be double or triple than that. So I think we need to make a rational line of what is the slowest, what can be the fastest, and how fast it is. So at that time, we'll not be confused that, okay, what was the speed of car? It's not something ratta maar ke,
definitely.
it is very everyday sort of thing. Your father or your mother drives. At what speed do they drive on general roads? And on metallic roads, obviously it's going to be faster. On roads that are kacha roads, there will be khaddas and potholes and all of that, so you'll be slower. So us hisab se we take a very basic or normal speed that is to be
Right.
taken.
So, here also observation comes into play, right? Our day-to-day life observation, definitely we are putting them all together.
And we cannot, I had to run 5 kilometers, so I just ran in 5 minutes. I mean,
definitely. Yeah, that would be like stupid decision then.
Yes, we should keep it as close to the reality, and these are all daily functions. This is what we do every day. So these should be kept in mind. Nothing heroic, nothing out of the ordinary. But yeah, instead of mugging them up or learning them, I feel one should think about what is this, what should be the speed.
Right. Understanding the situation clearly.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So if I talk about lecturate and GD, I guess your whole of the preparation was with the current affairs, right? Mostly.
I think reading helps you a lot in this, and these are topics that are very general that come. And I'm forgetting my topic for this time, but I've got topics like India in 2025, or I've gotten topics of farmers bill, of digitalization. These are concepts that are happening right now. Demonetization and digital currency is something that we're talking about, cryptocurrency. These are conversations that are happening within India, and this is, I think, it's very good for us if we know about them, not just for our SSB, but again for our usual life. It's good to talk about them. If you talk about them, you will not have to read up on them a lot. Our relations with the other countries, who is our ally, who is somebody who we've been in a stiff with, and how COVID has helped these relations. These are all topics that we need to think about, we need to talk about and read up. So lecturate again is just an expression of your thoughts on a certain topic, and if you structure it well, you'll be able to deliver it well. So I start with what the thing actually is, or what the topic is, and why it is important for us to study, or learn about that topic. And then if there is any recent events that have happened on that particular topic, and if you're facing any problems with respect to that, and then I try to suggest any solutions. So in this, I think we can very well cover 3 minutes.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, we need to just form it well and collect all our thoughts, and just structure it and talk about it. And again,
Okay.
don't be scared of if we're missing a word or if we forgot a word. We can clearly switch, and that is what our instructions are. We can switch to the language that we're comfortable in, and then again switch back to English, which is completely normal. So we should never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we are done with the entire set of tasks, right? Till day 4, which are done. And now
Yeah.
people get anxious about the conference, that it is the D day, what will be happening. So what kind of mahal was there in your room before the conference day, and how were you enjoying or being thinking about the result? Like how you like manage that stress?
We started our day with how fast these days go by. We make friends, and we don't want to leave. Obviously we all want to get recommended, but we don't want to leave our friends. And Allahabad is a place where we used to play volleyball in the evenings, and TT, or we used to walk around, go to the cafe and sit and talk. So we don't want this to end, so we're a little emotional about it, and we're a little scared as well, because it is the day of the decision. And however, conference is not a task that most are worried about, because it's just you go in, you're asked 2-3 questions, and then you come out. Like it gets finished as soon as it starts. But yes, everybody is a little tense. They are all waiting for the discussion. And then there are some of us who who talk about oh, so if we do go out, we go out together and we go back home together. So these are the that people start making. And I think yes, it's a bit of both. It's being emotional, it's being worried at that time, it's being you make so many friends, you're taking each other's numbers and forming groups, and I feel it's a very good feeling. Yes, one is scared, but conference again, one should not be worried about. It's just your last task of your SSB, and be confident. And you're asked there, how was your performance? So one should be honest. One should they should be able to, at that time or before that, they should be able to assess their own performance better, because they know how they have performed, or if they could perform better, right? And one should always make friends, should know about their friends. And this is how they see that whether you'll be able to fit in a completely different environment, right? So these were the emotions that we had. And yes, when they come and announce the results, our heart is like out in beat.
Yeah. Can you highlight some of the questions which were asked to you in your previous SSBs in the conference?
The questions are very basic. They ask us, if how do we judge our performance, and what marks do we give us out of on a scale of 1 to 10. They asked me how my stay was, if I had any suggestions, and one should give suggestions. I feel, if there are, because how would they know what we're suffering or what we're feeling? So they asked me if there was any suggestion. Uh, then they asked me if I made friends and who were they and where were they from, what do they do. And then they asked me if, they asked me who performed the best in my group in particular, and who would I like to recommend if I was given the option to. um, yeah, these were the basic questions of what have you learned from. And since I was a previously recommended candidate, they have asked me that, do you think you performed better in your previous attempts or this attempt, and which all fields did you do better in? So these were the questions that, in totality have been asked to me in conferences.
Okay, so this rating part, right? People get confused that whether they should say a 10 or it should be a 9, or whether should they keep themselves up, because ultimately they have given their 100%, or they should not be overpowering about, like, over babbling about their own self. So how did you tackle that situation?
To be honest, I never said I was a 10 on 10, because there's always a scope of improvement for myself, I feel. And yes, I they have given their 100%, and some give their 200% for that matter. So I always say that, so I feel that I performed to the best of my capability, whatever I could do. But yes, I could have performed better, or there could have been places where I lacked something, and I could have done this in a different way. So again, you should be very honest with how you performed, not by the effort of it. Yes, your efforts are 100%, and they are very, very important that they're 100%, but how your performance was in a particular task. So it could be anything. I mean, I thought that my performance was sometimes 8.5, or it was a 9, and there was still scope of improvement. So one should be a better judge of their own performance, and one should be very honest when it comes to this question.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, if I talk about the group, right, what do you think is the role of the group in our recommendation, and how your group helped you in that?
See, again, psych tests are more on the individual basis, and interviews also more on the individual. But GTO is when you get to know your group better, you get to perform with them. A group, yes, is very, very important. Is because a group is something that either lifts you up or pushes you down. I mean, in my group alone, there were 4 recommendations. So it was a very competitive group. And when I say competitive, they all understood what the importance of a group was, or what the importance of giving everybody the chance to perform was. So I feel one should understand that better, and one should not make it a solo act, but actually take help of everybody, give help to everybody. And there should be harmony, there should be a sort of friendship between the group as well, that they can support you and you can support them. That's how a group matters in any SSB.
Right, definitely. Okay, if I talk about hobbies, right? So there are various different, like various hobbies that people do, and even if they don't do, they just write it off, just not to keep that like PIP form blank, right? So, what is your suggestion to the upcoming aspiring aspirants regarding the hobbies part?
See, I feel one should, it doesn't matter if the form is blank. Nobody gets more score or more marks based on the fact that they do more things. I mean, yes, it is always good to participate in a lot of things, or to keep yourself occupied, not just in academics, but in co-curriculars and sports. It's good. But I feel when you write something, you should be doing that, because you will only
Right.
know about certain something. Like, say for example, I write badminton. Now I actually do play badminton, and I do know about the competitions or various cups, or and the players that are playing, the Indian players as well as the players outside. the rules, how it goes. For example, cricket, there is this shot, uppercut, and all. I don't know cricket much, so I don't write it because we can be asked or we can be faced with questions regarding that particular hobby, and we should know about it. I mean, people write reading even if they don't read, but when asked who's your favorite author or what was your last book and what was it about, they go blank because they are not fond of reading and they haven't read recently anything. So, that is when I feel that it doesn't matter if it is blank or not. You should write whatever you do best.
All right.
Even if it's helping your mother cook, or even if it is arranging things, even if it is dusting or cleaning, anything that that I mean we like, if even if it's going out with friends or going shopping or listening to music, I feel we should write what we actually are, because there are times then when these questions are asked, and it'll be reflected very badly if we're not able to answer something like that, because it's our hobbies and we have written that as our hobbies, right? So one
Definitely.
can this entire process of SSB needs to be very honest, and because if you're honest, it's only going to help you. And yeah.
Yeah, actually, I would like to add here in here as well that if you are not having any kind of hobby, you do have time, no? You start doing something and then you can write easily, right?
That's a very good point. And they say that before becoming an officer, you should start acting like an officer,
Right.
and how an officer would be or how he would think. It'll help you better to, fit yourself in the SSB. So I feel, yeah, that is a very good advice that I got, and people should do that.
Yeah. So I would like to highlight a question here that being an army brat, what do you think? Was it a bane or boon for you in the SSB?
I think it was a bane, yes, because I since my father was in the army, I have known his. I can't say I've known his struggles, but I've seen him all through these years, of how a disciplined man he is, very organized man, and people say the army men are strict, but no, that's not true. They just like to plan. So yes, I have being an army kid to my father and my mother, I have learned certain things that I feel that I wouldn't have learned if I was in the civil. This may be also maybe completely wrong, matlab, different for anybody else. But I learned the lessons of discipline. I learned the lessons of love, being in the organization and how it has treated me as a child. I always wanted to give back to it. My passion rises from my I used to see my father dress every day, and every day I wanted to be more and more in the army and have my own uniform. It took me some time, but it got me there. So yes, there is always an advantage if one if one has seen the army up close. But I don't feel that it is a disadvantage if somebody is coming from a non-army background, is because the all the discipline doesn't require you to be from the army,
Yeah.
right? Hardworking person doesn't require army to be hardworking, right? And all the knowledge that I have from my father or from my friends, it's all online. So if one reads up, I'm sure somebody would know a lot more than people than children of the army, because they read up on, and everything is available on the internet these days. So yeah, if one is serious about something, then I don't think coming from an army background or non-army background matters.
Basically, the efforts you put in gives the result. All right. Okay. So as you know that women now are getting into defense or are preparing for the defense more than ever. Right. So what would be your suggestion, tips, guidelines, anything for the aspiring women candidates? And not only the women, but all the engineers, lawyers, and any other candidate who is going to be appearing for his or her very first or maybe the repeater attempt in the SSB.
The army has never treated women or men separately. We have the same training, we have the same tests and same standards. Yes, now women are more and more getting more and more opportunities. And in fact, women are the strongest beings when it comes to mental capacity or mental strength. So, my advice to all who are appearing for their first or second or third, fourth, it doesn't matter. Yes, the first is your golden chance, I feel, because you're fresh, you have fresh thoughts, and you're not doctored or tutored. And that is the best chance that you have. Be confident in yourself, instill the qualities of an officer. We all know what the 15 officer like qualities are. Instill those qualities in you. Be of a helping nature, and try not to be selfish in these times, and be humble. Being humble is very, very important. Be confident, be open to knowledge, read up on all of these a lot. And I mean, these advices are the same for everybody. And be motivated. Never ever lose hope, because what once you achieve something, it's all worthy in the end. It's all the worth the effort. For me, that I did all these 2 years, I feel so good about it now, that I didn't give up. So I mean, don't ever think that you can't make it. You've made it this far, and just with a little more effort, you'll make it further. Have that thing in your head, and always take support. If you're feeling low, go to your friends, speak to your family. These are the people who give that energy drink to your body, and always keep them close. Keep talking to somebody.
No, such beautiful words, I must say. Thank you so much. Okay, so now finally you're going to join the academy on 30th of September, right? Very,
My joining letter, but I mean, yeah, soon I'll be going to Chennai. Yes.
yeah, so there are very few days left for you to join the academy, leaving all of your lawyers and this job behind. So, what are your plans for these days before joining the academy? Like, what parties or what friends you're going to meet, and what are you going to do? And
So
what about the packing part as well?
as of now, I'm just I'm still working. I have to fill in the last few days of work, complete my tasks and everything. So that being said, I'm trying to meet all my relatives and all my friends that I can. And because I don't know when will I get to meet them again. So when it comes to packing, the academy, the army takes care of us, so we don't have to pack much. The certain some things like formals and the whites, whatever we have for our SSBs, it's very much the same thing. And yes, more than anything else, you have to mentally prepare yourself, because army and the academy is another world. It's not, I don't know it yet. Let's hope we get to talk someday after I get permission, and then maybe
Definitely will wait for it.
then maybe. But yes, I'm very excited. I'm meeting as many people as I can, and I'm working and I'm packing also. My parents are helping me so much. My friends are helping me so much. So yeah, it's very exciting as of now.
Okay, really happy to see you like this.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So, what is your suggestion for us, the team of SSB Crack Exams, and how it was helpful for you in your journey?
I think, as I had mentioned earlier, SSB Crack has been doing a very, very good job. In fact, some of my friends have also in the past worked for SSB Crack, and your courses are very structured. They are what the kids need, and the daily news that you have to offer to the current affairs, the defense current affairs. Those I think have helped me a lot, and I think the most when it comes to my gathering of knowledge, everyday knowledge. So please keep up with that, because that's the best thing that I feel is about SSB Crack. And the fact that you are giving out the notification. I mean, we don't realize it because we're working and we have so much to do. We don't realize it that the notification is out, or what is the eligibility of this particular thing, or the merit is out for that matter. But since I follow SSB Crack on Telegram also, on YouTube also, and the pages and Instagram as well, I keep getting notifications. So I feel, yeah, one should subscribe to SSB Crack and take their courses. They're very good. and you guys are doing a great job. Keep doing that and keep motivating people. And yes, another thing that I wanted to mention is you make videos on soft skills, something that is very important for anybody to improve their personality. Please go out and check those videos. They are great and they guide you in a very good way and how to improve yourself.
Actually, listening to these words from candidates like you makes us motivated. Thank you so much for such kind words. And I must say, it was really a very healthy and fruitful conversation. And all those who will be listening to it, they are going to get a very good insight about SSB. Right. So it was really what?
I'm very glad I could help you.
Yeah, actually, I'm telling you, they are going to come and tell you that Chahat ma'am, I have seen your interview and now I am here being your junior someday. So it was really very good. And thank you so much for sharing such good experience of all those 2 years of your life where you were struggling and now finally you have made it. So all the very best. And I am here to salute you along with everybody else. So I hope you will be the best of the best army officers. And thank you so much. Yeah, again.
All the best to everybody watching this, and all the best to you, to the SSBCrack teams, and thank you so much for giving me so much love.
Right. And all the very best for your academy journey and everything, and we'll definitely look forward to meet you again. All the very best again. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Thank you.